Hi, Melissa and Doug Hoover, Counselor Realty of Bemidji. We are here today doing a community spotlight with Kate Beliveau. And she is here with the Bemidji Sculpture Walk. So if you have ever been downtown Bemidji, you'll see that there are several sculptures located on many of our street corners, on the sides of our buildings, or along the shores of Lake Bemidji. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about how the Sculpture Walk started.
Well, we're very excited because this is going to be our 20th year next year. And the spark for it came because my husband Al is a sculptor. And we were traveling on a family vacation to Grand Junction, Colorado. And they had a well-established sculpture walk in their historical downtown. And we were so impressed with the art, but we were also impressed that their downtown was really vibrant. Lots of cafes and unique stores. And we talked to the person who had was kind of the organizer, and they said they felt like it was a good way to keep their downtown alive. And so we said, you know what, husband, we're going to add this to your to-do list. Let's think about talking to people in Bemidji to get a sculpture walk going.
So
20 years
ago.
Next year is 20 years.
So how has it evolved over the years? Like your first year, approximately how many sculptures did you have?
I think that first year we only put about 12 on the walk. And we've grown, and we haven't grown dramatically. We try to aim for about 20 new sculptures each spring, but we've gotten where people have purchased permanent pieces, and then there's encore pieces where the artists say, could I just leave it over here? And we say, absolutely. So we're about 50 sculptures, and especially the downtown area, but there's a few scattered out at the Baker Park, so the elders can enjoy an origami swan. And so we have a few scattered pieces, but mainly it's to keep the downtown vibrant.
Okay, I love that. So if somebody wanted to know a little bit about each of the sculptures that were downtown and or in other places in Bemidji, where would they find information?
Well, we have a really great relationship with, most folks come into Bemidji and they want to get a picture with Paul and Babe. So the visitor center there has brochures that we put out. So we put out really nicely done brochures. And then it allows people to say, okay, let's get out of the car, let's walk downtown, let's find these sculptures. It becomes kind of a treasure hunt with families. And then the plus is they're going to maybe pop into a restaurant or a store. The brochures are also put in some of the businesses downtown, and then we have a really active website where you can go and also pick up the brochure that way.
So when do the sculptures change?
We try to switch out the third week of May typically. And so some of the artists come from all over the Midwest, and we've had folks from even further away. We honor them with a reception, so there's a big installation Saturday, and we have a crew of volunteers to help put the work in. And then we celebrate the artists and get to know a little bit about them and their process and what inspired them to do their work. And then we pick a People's Choice work, and that prize money is given that day. And then we also do a Critics' Choice, where we bring in people with an eye for what's quality art, and we give a Critics' Choice award as well.
Just tell us a little bit about this sculpture that is here.
We're always not just about putting artwork on the streets, and it's, as I explained earlier to you, it's an interactive public gallery. Sometimes people get intimidated by going into a gallery thinking I don't have the background, or that's just for people that are more affluent. I'm not a person who goes into art galleries. Well, when you take the work and put it out on the streets, the gallery is the streets. And so it's accessible, it's wheelchair accessible, it's accessible to kids and elders and regular adults. And we always have tried to include kids, and this is all scrap metal from a combination of an art teacher and a welding teacher's work. All the scrap pieces, the welding teacher said, what can we create with this? So this is a whole lot of high school young men and women who are learning how to weld. This is what they came up with, and I love the name of it. It's called the Teenage Mind. And its sub-name is Krog. The kids were here for the installation last May. They were so proud that their artwork was going to be part of a public setting. Could have stayed in the shop down in the high school. But there's a whole nother level when you're saying you're part of a public gallery of art. And art is supposed to cause conversation, so some of the pieces on the street are what we consider fine art. And you can tell the processes and the product at the end is fine art. And then there's that other level, which is this is not always considered fine art, but people still have conversations and interface with it. So we try to have a spectrum of what's on the industry. It's not all fine art, it's a mixture of work.
How does an artist apply to have their piece presented downtown?
We have applications on the website, and then we also recruit people that we've built relationships with, and then we put it in sculpture magazines and Minnesota State Arts Board and lots of other entities where we just get it out to the public so they know you can apply.
How is the sculpture walk funded?
Right from the beginning, we knew it would never work unless we had buy-in from the downtown community. And they also agreed with us that we've got to get people walking from Paul and Babe and get them to come down to historical downtown. 20 years ago, there were more storefronts that weren't active. There wasn't as vibrant as it is right now. And that's the power of art and what it can do with the energy of a space. People know things are happening because that's what artists bring, is there's creativity and there's things happening. So the business communities do a $300, some are up to $1,000 underwriting of the sculptures. And then those monies are spent to do a small stipend to the artists to pay for motel and gas. So we're not a very complex budget. It's basically supporting the artists, and that comes because of businesses. And then about 3 years ago, we started an individual membership, because if you asked percentage of Bemidji citizens, do you enjoy the sculpture walk, you're going to get a positive response. And so we realized we need to also have them step up and support us as well. So through the Northwest Minnesota Foundation, you can go to their website and also support us that way.
Do you know the most photographed sculpture that would be this year, or is there any way that you can track what people really like?
Well, on the website, people can go and vote for their favorite piece, which we invite people to do that. It's called People's Choice. I agree with one of my fellow board members that that wonderful little wiener dog, Lucky Dog, by one of our little restaurants there, is super interactive. He's cute, or she. You can walk around her. It's a person who necessarily doesn't have a big portfolio of doing artwork, but they stepped forward and they did a fantastic job. Her name's Lisa Clay, and I'd say that's probably really photographed. Back in the olden days, it was Grandma with a big apron full of potatoes on the corner. She was a bronze, and oh my gosh, people loved interacting with her. One year we had a crocodile, and lots of little kids loved putting their head in the crocodile's jaws. And now the one that people are like, Kate, get that thing down, is the huge spider. And I hope you get a picture of that. There's a huge, huge spider. We put it way up high because it's pokey and we don't want anyone to get hurt. So I'd say that one's probably photographed quite a bit too.
Yeah, I feel like every time I walk by there, people are stopping and looking up at the spider. So they probably either think it's really fascinating or it's scary.
Get out of here.
And, yeah.
Take it down.
Yeah. What happens once a piece is retired?
Well, retired could sometimes mean that someone has stepped forward in the community and said, you know, that fish sculpture, I need that on my lake piece. So they get purchased.
Okay.
That's one form of retirement, is a purchase, and that's the best retirement. Sometimes the artists say, could I leave it one more year? And we are agreeable to that many times. And then otherwise the artists take it out and they submit it to another sculpture walk. Obviously artists love to share their beautiful art, but they're business people also, and they need to live off of the income from their work. So people very often, we sell a couple pieces every year, but we're going to try to focus on a lease to own program for private ownership on the lake property or near your home. Or the businesses sometimes say, I don't want that piece to go away. So we're going to work on a lease to own, which will keep more work here in Bemidji.
That's wonderful. If someone wants to know how much a sculpture is, where would they find that information?
Find it on the website. It's listed there. It's in the brochure. And then we have got the price right on the plaques at the sculptures. So if it says NFS, like this high school thing right here done by high school kids, NFS means it's just not for sale.
I just really appreciate you speaking with me today and talking a little bit about the Sculpture Walk, because I just really think this is a great part of our downtown, and I'm just really excited to be able to showcase this. If you would like to see more community spotlights, you can like our Facebook page at Bemidji Home Search. And also, if you want to comment on other things that you would like to see as a community spotlight, we would love to be able to hear what you would like to see as well. Thank you very much. Melissa and Doug Hoover, Counselor Realty of Bemidji.